about your sermon last Sunday. It's really wonderful, Dr. Harper. In only 2 short years, you've taken on the spirit of Brooklyn.
That's very gratifying, Miss Brewster.
You see, living here next to the church all our lives, we've seen so many ministers come and go. The spirit of Brooklyn, as we always say, is friendliness. And your sermons are not so much sermons as friendly talks.
Personally, I've always enjoyed my talks with Cardinal Gibbons. Have I met him yet?
No, dear, not yet. Are the biscuits good?
Bully!
Won't you have another biscuit, Dr. Harper?
Oh no, I'm afraid I'll have no appetite for dinner now.
Oh, but you haven't tried the quince. We always put a little apple in it to take the tartness out.
No, thank you.
We'll send it over in a jar.
Oh, no. You keep it here so I can be sure of having your delicious biscuits with it.
I do hope they don't make us use that imitation flour again. I mean, with this war trouble. It may not be very charitable of me, but I've almost come to the conclusion that this Mr. Hitler isn't a Christian.
If only Europe were on another planet.
Europe, sir?
Yes, Teddy.
Point your gun the other way!
Gun?
Teddy.
To the west! There's your danger! There's your enemy, Japan!
Why, yes. Yes, of course.
Teddy!
No one, Tabby! Not so much talk about Europe and more about the canal!
Well, let's not talk about war. Will you have another cup of tea, dear?
No thank you, Aunt Tabby!
Dr. Harper?
No, thank you. Miss Abby, I must admit, all these talks of war seem so far removed from these quaint surroundings.
It is peaceful here, isn't it?
Yes, peaceful. The virtues of another day. The simple virtues that went out with candlelight and good manners and low taxes.
It's one of the oldest houses in Brooklyn. It's just as it was when Grandfather Brewster built and furnished it, except for the electricity. And we use it as little as possible. It was Mortimer who persuaded us to put it in.
Yes, your nephew Mortimer. He seems to live only by electric light.
Well, the poor boy has to work so late. I understand he's taking Elaine with him again to the theater tonight. Oh, Teddy, your brother Mortimer will be here a little later.
Delighted!
We're so glad it's Elaine Mortimer takes to the theater with him.
Well, it's a new experience for me to wait until 3 o'clock in the morning for my daughter to be brought home.
Oh, Dr. Harper, I hope you don't disapprove of Mortimer.
Well...
We'd feel so guilty if you did. Sister Martha and I. I mean, since it was here in our home that your daughter first met Mortimer.
Miss Abby, I've been watching their relationship with some trepidation. For one reason, Miss Abby.
His stomach, Dr. Harper.
Stomach?
His dyspepsia. He's bothered with it so, poor boy.
No, I'm talking of your nephew's unfortunate connection with the theater.
The theater? Oh, no, Dr. Harper. Mortimer writes for a New York newspaper.
I know, Miss Abby, I know, but a dramatic critic is always constantly exposed to the theater, and I can't help but notice that some of them do take up an interest in it.
Well, not Mortimer. You need have no fear of that. Why, Mortimer hates the theater.
Really?
Yes, he writes awful things about the theater. But you can't blame him, poor boy. He was so happy writing about real estate, which he really knew something about, and then they made him take this terrible night position.
My.
But as Mortimer says, the theater can't last much longer, and in the meantime it's a living. Yes, I think if we give the theater another year or two, perhaps. Well, now, who do you suppose that is? No, thank you, Teddy, I'll go. Oh, come in, Mr. Brophy.
Good afternoon, Miss Brewster.
How are you, Mr. Klein?
Very well, Miss Brewster.
What news have you brought me?
Colonel, we have nothing to report.
Splendid! At ease, gentlemen.
You know Dr. Harper?
Sure. Hello, Dr. Harper. We've come for the toys for the Christmas fund.
Oh, yes.
That's a splendid work you men do, taking discarded children toys and fixing them up to give poorer children a happier Christmas.
It gives us something to do when you have to sit around the station. You get tired playing cards and you start cleaning your gun, and the next thing you know, you've shot yourself in the foot.
Teddy, run upstairs and get that big box of toys from your Aunt Martha's room. How is Mrs. Brophy today?
Charge!
Mrs. Brophy has been quite ill, Dr. Harper.
Pneumonia.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm going to get you some beef broth to take to her.
Don't bother, Miss Abby. You've done so much for her already.
Oh, but we made it this morning. Sister Martha is taking some to poor Mr. Benitsky right now. I won't be a minute. Sit down and be comfortable, all of you.
She shouldn't go to all that trouble.
Listen, try to stop her or her sister from doing something nice, and for nothing, they don't even care how you vote.
When I first moved here, my wife wasn't doing too well. And for the months leading up to and after she died, well, if I didn't know what pure kindness was, it's because I've known the Brewster sisters.
Colonel, you promised not to do that.
But I have to call a cabinet meeting to get the release of those supplies!
He used to blow the bugle in the middle of the night. The neighbors raised Cain with us. They're a little afraid of him anyways.
Oh, he's quite harmless.
Suppose he does think he's Teddy Roosevelt. There's a lot worse people he could think he was.
Damn shame. Nice to see one like this hatching a cuckoo.
Well, his father, the old girl's brother, was some sort of genius, wasn't he? And their father, Teddy's grandfather, seems to me he was a little crazy too.
Yeah, he was crazy like a fox. He made $1 million.
Really? Here in Brooklyn?
Yeah, patent medicine. He was a kind of a quack of some sort. Old Sergeant N.A.H.S remembers him. He used the house here as sort of a clinic, trying him out on people.
Yeah, I hear he used to make mistakes occasionally too.
Yeah, the department never bothered him much though, because he was pretty useful in autopsies sometimes, especially poison cases.
Well, whatever he did, he fixed his daughters up for life. Thank God for that.
Not that they'd spend any even on themselves.
I'm quite aware of their charities.
You don't know a tenth of it. When I was working with the Missing Persons Bureau, there was an old man we were trying to find that we never did end up finding. Did you know there's a renting agency that's got this house this house listed for furnished rooms? They don't rent rooms, but anybody coming here looking for a room probably leaves with a warm meal and a few dollars in their kick.
It's just their way of digging up some people to do some good to.
Well now, isn't this nice?
Hello, Miss Brewster.
How do you do, Mr. Brophy? Dr. Harper? Mr. Klein?
How are you, Miss Brewster? You dropped in to get the Christmas toys.
Oh yes, Teddy's Army Navy. They were out, they're all packed.
The colonel's upstairs after him. Seems the cabinet has to do okay.
Oh yes, of course. I hope Mrs. Brophy's better?
She's doing fine, ma'am. Your sister getting me some soup to take to her.
Oh yes, we made it this morning. I just brought some to a poor man who broke ever so many bones. Oh, you're back, Martha. How is Mr. Beninsky? It's pretty serious, I'm afraid. The doctor was there. We're going to amputate in the morning. Can we be present? No, I asked him, but he says it's against the rules of the hospital.
He wouldn't be of any service anyways.
Here's the broth, Mr. Brophy. Be sure it's good and hot.
Yes, ma'am.
This is fine. It'll make a lot of kids happy. That O'Malley boy's nuts about soldiers.
That's General Miles! I retired him! And what's this? The Oregon?
Teddy, dear, put it back.
But the Oregon goes to Australia!
Now, Teddy.
No, Aunt Tabby! I've given my word to fighting Bubbins!
But, Teddy.
What difference does it make what kid gets it? Bobby Evans, Izzy Cohen, we will run along then, and thank you very much.
Oh, not at all. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Well, I better get going now.
Before you go, Dr. Harper.
Charge! Charge the blockhouse!
The blockhouse?
The stairs are always San Juan Hill.
Have you ever tried convincing him that he wasn't Teddy Roosevelt?
Oh, no. He's just so happy being Teddy Roosevelt. Well, once, a long time ago, remember, Martha? We thought that if he'd be George Washington, it might be a change for him. But he just stayed under his bed for days and wouldn't just be anybody. And we'd so much rather he'd be Mr. Roosevelt than nobody.
Well, if he's happy, and more importantly, you're happy, you're to see that he signs these?
What are they? Dr. Harper has made all the arrangements for Teddy to go to Happydale Sanitarium after we pass on. Why should Teddy sign anything now?
If the good Lord should someday decide to take you off this planet, perhaps we couldn't convince Teddy to commit himself voluntarily. Mr. Witherspoon's understand that they're to be filed away until the time comes to use them.
Mr. Witherspoon? Who's he?
He's the superintendent of Happydale.
Dr. Harper has arranged for him to drop in tomorrow or the next day to meet Teddy.
Well, I better be going now before Elaine comes looking for me.
Oh, give our love to Elaine. And Dr. Harper, please don't think harshly of Mortimer just because he's a dramatic critic. Somebody's got to do those things. Did you just have tea? Isn't it rather late? Yes. And dinner's going to be late, too. So, why? Teddy! Good news for you. You're going to Panama to dig another look for the canal.
Bully, bully! I shall prepare for the journey at once! Charge!
Abby, while I was out, yes, dear. I couldn't wait for you. I didn't know when you'd be back and Dr. Harper was coming. But all by yourself? Oh, I got along fine. I'll run right downstairs and see. Oh, no, there wasn't time. And I was all alone. So, Martha, just look in the window seat. the shortcut for the cemetery. Mortimer hasn't come yet? Not yet. Oh? He asked me to meet him here. Do you mind if I wait? Not at all. Why don't you sit down, dear? We really must speak to Mortimer about doing this to you. Doing what? Well, he was brought up to know better. When a gentleman is taking a young lady out, he should call for her at her house. Oh, there's something about calling for a girl at a parsonage that discourages any man who doesn't embroider. He's done this too often. We're going to speak to him. Oh, please don't. After young men, his idea of nightlife was taking me to prayer meeting. It's wonderful to go to the theater almost every night of my life. It's comforting for us, too, because if Mortimer has to see some of those plays he has to see, at least he's sitting next to a minister's daughter. My goodness, Elaine, what you must think of us, not having the tea cleared away by this time. Don't bother with anything in the kitchen until Mortimer comes, and then I'll help you. Mortimer should be here any minute now. Yes. Father must have been surprised not to find me at home. I'd better run over and say goodnight to him. It's a shame you missed him, dear. If Mortimer comes, you tell him I'll be right back. Hello, Mort.
Hello, Elaine. Hello, Aunt Martha.
Abby, Mortimer's here.
Were you going somewhere?
I was just going over to tell Father not to wait up for me.
I didn't know that was still being done, even in Brooklyn.
Hello, Mortimer.
Hello, Aunt Abby.
How are you, dear?
All right. And you look well. You haven't changed much since yesterday.
Oh, my goodness, it was yesterday, wasn't it? Well, we're seeing a great deal of you lately. Well, come, sit down, sit down. Abby, haven't we got something to do in the kitchen?
Huh?
You know, the tea things. Oh, yes, yes, the tea things. Well, you two just make yourselves at home. Make yourselves at home. Well, can't you take a hint?
No, that was pretty obvious. A lack of inventiveness, I should say.
Yes, that's exactly what you'd say.
Where do you want to go for dinner?
I don't care. I'm not very hungry.
Well, I just had breakfast. Suppose we wait until after the show?
But that'll make it pretty late, won't it?
Not with the little stinker we're seeing tonight. From what I've heard about it, we'll be at Blake's by 10 o'clock.
You ought to be fair to these plays.
Are these plays fair to me?
I've never seen you walk out on a musical.
That musical isn't opening tonight.
No?
Darling, you'll have to learn the rules. With a musical, it's always 4 changes of title and 3 postponements. They liked it a lot in New Haven, but it needs a lot of work.
Oh, I was hoping it was a musical.
You have such a light mind.
Not a bit. Musicals somehow have a humanizing effect on you. After a serious play, we joined the proletariat in the subway, and I listened to a lecture on the drama. After a musical, you take me home in a taxi, and you make a few passes.
No, darling, that is a very inaccurate piece of reporting.
Oh, I will admit that after the Behrman play, you told me I had authentic beauty. And that's a hell of a thing to say to a girl. It wasn't until after our first musical that you told me I had nice legs. And I have, too.
For a minister's daughter, you know a lot about life. Where'd you learn it?
In the choir loft.
I'll explain that to you sometime, darling. The close connection between eroticism and religion.
Religion never gets as high as the choir lofts. Which reminds me, I'd better go tell Father please not to wait up for me tonight.
I've never been able to rationalize it.
What?
My falling in love with a girl who lives in Brooklyn.
Falling in love? You're not stooping to the articulate, are you?
The only way I can regain my self-respect is to keep you in New York.
Did you say keep?
No. I've come to the conclusion that you're holding out for the legalities.
I can afford to be a good girl for quite a few years yet.
And I can't wait that long. Where could we be married in a hurry? Say, tonight?
I'm afraid Father will insist on officiating.
Oh, God. Your father could make even the marriage service sound pedestrian.
Are you, by any chance, writing a review of it?
Forgive me, darling. It's an occupational disease. I may give that play tonight a good notice.
Now, darling, don't pretend you love me that much.
Oh, by the way, be sure to tell your father not to wait up tonight.
I think tonight I'd better tell him to wait up.
I'll telephone Winchell to publish the banns.
Nevertheless...
All right. Everything formal and legal, but not later than next month.
Darling! I'll talk it over with Father and set the date.
No, we'll have to see what's in rehearsal first. There will be a lot of other first nights in October.
Hello, Mortimer!
Hello, behind you.
Yes, I know. Isn't it wonderful? Oh, goodbye. Goodbye.
Where are you off to, Teddy?
Panama.
Panama's the cellar. He likes to dig logs for the canal down there.
You're very sweet with him, and he's very fond of you.
Well, Teddy was always my favorite brother.
Favorite? Were there more of you?
Well, there was another brother, Jonathan.
I've never heard of him. Your aunts never mentioned him.
No, we don't like to talk about Jonathan. Jonathan left Brooklyn very early, by request. Jonathan was the kind of boy who liked to cut worms in two, with his teeth.
What became of him?
I don't know. He wanted to become a surgeon like grandfather, but he wouldn't go to medical school and his practice got him into trouble.
Aren't you two going to be late for the theater?
No, we're skipping dinner. We won't have to start for half an hour.
Oh, well, then I'll leave you two alone together again.
Don't bother, darling. I'm going to run over to speak with Father. Before I go out with you, he likes to pray over me a little. I'll be right back. I'll cut through the cemetery.
Well, if the prayer isn't too long, I'd have time to lead you beside distilled water.
Mortimer, that's the first time I've ever heard you quote the Bible. We knew Elaine would be a good influence for you.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to marry her.
What? Oh, darling, congratulations. Martha, come right in here. Got the most wonderful news for you. Mortimer and Elaine are going to be married. Married? Oh, Mortimer, we hoped it would happen just like this. Elaine must be the happiest girl in the world.
Happy. Just look at her, leaping over those gravestones. Say, what's that?
What's what, dear?
See that statue over there? That's a Horrendinida Carnina.
Oh, no, dear. That's Emma B. Stout ascending to heaven.
No, on Mrs. Stout's left ear. That's a red-crested swallow. Why, I've only seen one of those before in my life.
I don't know how you could be thinking about a bird now. What with Elaine and the engagement and everything?
Well, it's a vanishing species. Thoreau was very fond of them. Oh, by the way, I left a large envelope around here last week. It was one of the chapters of my book on Thoreau. Have you seen it?
Well, if you left it here, it must be here somewhere. When are you going to be married? What are your plans? There must be something more you can tell us about Elaine.
Elaine? Oh, yes. Elaine thought it was brilliant.
What was?
My chapter on Thoreau.
Well, when Elaine comes back, I think we ought to have a little celebration. We must drink to your happiness. Martha, isn't there some of that Lady Baltimore cake left? Oh, yes, and I'll open a bottle of wine. To think it happened in this room.
Now, where could I have put that?
Well, with your fiancé sitting beside you tonight, I do hope the play will be something you can enjoy for once. It may be something romantic. What's the name of it?
Murder Will Out.
Oh, dear.
When the curtain goes up, the first thing you'll see will be a dead body. What's Abby?
Yes, dear.
You were going to make plans for Teddy to go to that sanitarium, Happydale?
Oh, yes, dear. Dr. Harper was here today and brought the papers for Teddy to sign. Here they are.
He's got to sign them right away.
That's what Dr. Harper thinks. Then there won't be any legal difficulties after we pass on.
He's got to sign them this minute. He's down in the cellar. Get him up here right away.
There's no such hurry as that, dear. No, when Teddy starts working on the canal, you can't get his mind on anything else.
Teddy's got to go to Happydale now, tonight.
Oh, no, that's not until after we're gone.
Right away, I tell you, right away.
Why, Mortimer, how could you say such a thing? Why, as long as we'll live, we'll never be separated from Teddy.
Now, darlings, I'm frightfully sorry, but I've got some shocking news. Now, we've all got to try to keep our heads. You know, we've sort of humored Teddy because we thought he was harmless.
Why, he is harmless.
He was harmless. That's why he has to go to Happydale. Why he has to be confined.
Why, Mortimer, why have you suddenly turned against Teddy, your own brother?
Oh, you've got to know sometime. Might as well be now. Teddy's killed a man.
Nonsense, dear.
There's a body in there.
Yes, dear. We know.
What? You know?
Of course, dear. But it has nothing to do with Teddy. Now, Mortimer, forget about it. Forget you ever saw the gentleman.
Forget?
Oh, we never dreamed you'd peep.
But who is he?
His name is Hoskins. Adam Hoskins. That's all I know about him, except that he's a Methodist.
That's all you know about him. What is he doing here? What happened to him?
He died.
Aunt Martha! Men don't just get into window seats and die.
No! He died first.
Well, how?
Oh, Mortimer, don't be so inquisitive. The gentleman died because he drank some wine with poison in it.
How did the poison get in the wine?
Well, we put it in the wine because it's less noticeable. When it's in the tea, it has a distinct odor.
You put the poison in the wine?
Yes, and I put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat because Dr. Harper was coming.
So you knew what you'd done. You didn't want Dr. Harper to see the body.
Well, not at tea. That wouldn't have been very nice. Now, Mortimer, you know the whole thing. Forget about it. I do think Martha and I have the right to our own little secrets.
And don't you tell Elaine. Abby, while I was out, I dropped in on Mrs. Schultz. She's doing much better, but she would like us to take Junior to the movies again.
Oh, we must do that tomorrow or next day.
Yes, but this time we'll see what we want to see. Junior's not going to drag me to another one of those scary pictures.
Hello, city desk. Hello, Al, do you know who this is? That's right. Say, Al, when I left the office, I told you where I was going, remember? Where did I say? Uh-huh. Well, it would take me about a half hour to get to Brooklyn. What time have you got? That's right. Well, I must be here. Aunt Abby! Aunt Martha, come in here! What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
What are we going to do about what, dear?
There's a body in there!
Yes, Mr. Hoskins.
Good heavens, I can't turn you over to the police, but what am I going to do?
Well, for one thing, dear, stop being so excited. And for pity's sake, stop worrying. We told you to forget the whole thing.
Forget! Aunt Abby, can't I make you realize that something has got to be done?
Now, Mortimer, you behave yourself. You're too old to be flying off the handle like this.
But Mr. Hotchkiss!
Hoskins, dear.
Well, whatever his name is, you can't just leave him in there.
We don't intend to, dear. No, Teddy's down in the cellar digging the lock.
You mean you're going to bury Mr. Hotchkiss in the cellar?
Of course, dear. That's what we did with the others.
No, you can't bury Mr. Others?
The other gentlemen.
When you say others, do you mean others? More than one others?
Yes, let me see. This makes 11, doesn't it, Abby?
No, dear, this makes 12.
Oh, no, dear, I think you're wrong. This is only 11.
No, dear, because I remember when Mr. Hoskins first came in, he would make just an even dozen.
I really think you shouldn't count the first one.
Oh, I was counting the first one, so this makes 12.
Hello? Oh. Hello? Oh, hello, Al. My, it's good to hear your voice.
Well, anyway, they're all down at...
No, Al, I'm sober as a lark. I was just calling you because I was feeling a little pirandello. You wouldn't know. Al, look, I'm glad you called. George has got to review that play tonight. I can't make it. No, Al, you're wrong. Well, this is my department and I'm running it. Now you get a hold of George. Now, where were we? 12!
Yes, Abby thinks we ought to count the first one, and that makes 12.
All right. Now, who was the first one?
Mr. Midgley, he was a Baptist.
Although I still think we shouldn't count the first one, because he just died.
Martha means without any help from us. You see, Mr. Midgley came here looking for a room.
It was just after your move to New York.
And it didn't seem right for that lovely room to be going to waste when there were so many people who needed it. He was such such a lonely old man. All his kith and kin were dead, and it left him so forlorn and unhappy. We felt so sorry for him. And then, when his heart attack came, and he sat dead in that chair, looking so peaceful, remember, Martha? We made up our minds right then and there that if we could help other lonely old men to that same peace, we would.
He dropped dead right in that chair? How awful for you!
Oh, no, dear. It was rather like old times. You see, Grandfather always used to have a cadaver or two around the house, and Teddy was down in Panama digging the lock, and he thought Mr. Midgley was a yellow fever victim. That meant he had to be buried immediately. So we took him down to Panama and buried him in the lock. You see, dear, that's why we told you not to worry about it, because we know exactly what's to be done.
So that's how this all started. That man walking in here and dropping dead?
Of course, we realized we couldn't rely on that happening again, so... Remember all those jars of poison that had been down in Grandfather's laboratory all these years? You know your Aunt Martha's knack for mixing things. You've eaten enough of her piccolo. Well, for 1 gallon of elderberry wine, I mixed 1 teaspoon of arsenic, half a teaspoon of strychnine, and just a pinch of cyanide.
Should have quite a kick.
Yes, as a matter of fact, one of our gentlemen found time to say how delicious. Well, I really must get things started in the kitchen. I wish you could stay for dinner. I'm trying out a new recipe.
I couldn't eat a thing.
Well, now I feel so much better. Oh, you have to wait for Elaine, don't you? How happy you must be. Well, dear, I'll leave you alone with your thoughts.
Oh, it's you.
Don't be cross, darling. Father could see that I was excited, so I told him about us, and that made it hard for me to get away. But listen, darling, he's not going to wait up for me tonight.
Now, Elaine, you run along home. I'll call you up in a day or two.
In a day or two?
Well, you know I always call you up then.
But we're going to the theater tonight.
No. No, we're not.
Well, why not?
Elaine, something's come up.
What, darling? Mortimer, you've lost your job!
No, I haven't lost my job. I'm just not covering that play tonight. Now listen, you run along home. Something's come up.
But I've got to know what's happened. Certainly you can tell me.
No, dear, I can't.
But if we're going to be married...
Married?
Have you forgotten that not 15 minutes ago you proposed to me?
I did? Oh, yes. Well, as far as I know, that's still on. Now, you run along home, Elaine. So I've got to do something.
Listen, you can't propose to me 1 minute and throw me out of the house the next.
I'm not throwing you out of the house, darling. Now, will you please get out of here?
Oh, I won't get out of here. Not until I've had some kind of explanation.
Elaine! Hello? Hello, Al. Will you hold on a minute? All right, it's important, but it can wait a minute, can't it? Hold on. Look, Elaine, you're a sweet girl, and I love you, but I've got something on my mind, and I want you to go home and wait until I call you.
Don't try to be masterful.
When we're married and I have problems to face, I hope you're less tedious and uninspired.
And when we're married, if we're married, I hope I find you adequate.
Elaine! Elaine! Hello? Hello? Hello?
That's
Hello?
the doorbell, dear, not the telephone. Oh, how do you do? Won't you step in?
I understand you have a room to rent.
Yes, do come in.
Are you the lady of the house?
Yes, I'm Miss Brewster, and this is my sister, another Miss Brewster.
My name is Gibbs.
Oh, won't you sit down? I'm sorry, we were just setting the table for dinner.
Hello? Let me talk to Al again. Hello? Al!
much good if I don't like the room.
Is Brooklyn your home?
Haven't got a home. Live in a hotel. Don't like it.
Hello? City desk.
Are your family Brooklyn people?
Don't have a family.
All alone in the world?
Yep.
Well, Martha. Well, you've come just to the right house. Do sit down.
Hello? Al. Mort. Sorry, we got cut off. Al, I can't cover that play tonight. Well, that's all there is to it. I can't.
What church do you go to? There's an Episcopal church practically next door.
I'm Presbyterian. Or used to be.
What's George doing in Bermuda? Well, certainly I told him he could go to Bermuda. It's my department, isn't it? Well, you've got to get somebody. Who else is there around the place? All right, I'll hold on.
Is there always this much noise?
Oh, no. He doesn't live with us.
Look, Al, how about that office boy? You know, the bright one? The one we don't like? Well, look around for him. I'll hold on.
I'd really like to see the room.
It's upstairs, but won't you try a glass of our wine before we start up?
Never touch it.
We make it ourselves. It's elderberry wine.
Elderberry. I haven't tasted elderberry wine since I was a boy. Thank you.
Well, there ought to be some printers around. Look, Al, how about that person who sets my copy? His name is John. He's the third machine from the left. But Al, he might turn out to be another Burns Mantle.
Do you have your own elderberry bushes?
No, but the cemetery is full of them.
No, I'm not drinking. But I'm going to start now.
Do you serve meals?
We might, but first to see whether or not you like our wine. Mortimer. Mortimer, not that.
Don't drink that! Do not drink. Get out of this house. Get out this minute. Do you want to be killed? Do you want to die?
Well, now you've spoiled everything.
Look, you can't do things like that. I don't know how to explain this to you, but it's not just against the law. It's wrong. It's not a nice thing to do. People wouldn't understand. He wouldn't understand.
Abby, we shouldn't have told Mortimer.
Well, what I mean is, this has developed into a very bad habit.
Mortimer, we don't try to stop you from doing things you like to do. I don't see why you should interfere with us.
Hello? All right, I'll see the first act, and I'll pan the hell out of it. But look, Al, you've got to do something for me. Get a hold of O'Brien, our lawyer, the head of our legal department. Have him meet me at the theater. Now, don't let me down. Okay, I'm starting now. Look, I've got to go to the theater. I can't get out of it. But before I go, will you promise me something?
We'd have to know what it was first.
Look, I love you very much, and I know you love me. You know I'd do anything in the world for you, and I want you to do just this little thing for me.
What do you want us to do?
Don't do anything. I mean, don't do anything. Don't let anybody in this house and leave Mr. Hoskins right where he is.
Why?
Well, I need time to think, and I've got quite a little to think about. You know I wouldn't want to let anything happen to you.
Well, what on earth could happen to us?
Look, you'll do this for me, won't you?
Well, we were planning on holding services before dinner.
Services?
Certainly. You don't think we'd bury Mr. Hoskins without a full Methodist service, do you? Why, he was a Methodist.
But can't that wait until I get back?
Oh, then you could join us.
Yes, yes.
Oh, Mortimer, you'll love the services, especially the hymns. Remember how beautifully Mortimer used to sing in the choir before his voice changed?
All right, remember, don't let anybody in this house. It's a promise.
Well, oh, we can do that now that Mortimer's cooperating with us. Well, all right, Mortimer.
All right, have you got any paper? I've got a man to see. I'll be back just as soon as I can.
Here's some stationery. Will this do?
That'll be fine. I can save time if I write my review on the way to the theater.
Mortimer didn't seem himself today. Well, that's only natural. I think I know why. Why? Well, he's just become engaged to be married. I suppose that always makes a man nervous. Oh, yes, I'm so happy for Elaine. And their honeymoon ought to give Mortimer a real break. Well, at least he didn't go off kiting to China or Spain. I could never understand why he wanted to go to those places. Well, I think to Mortimer the theater has always seemed pretty small potatoes. He needs something big to criticize. Something like the human race. Oh, Abby, if Mortimer is going to be joining us for the services, we're going to need another hymnal. There's one in my room. You know, dear, it's really my turn to read the services. But since you weren't here when Mr. Hoskins first came, I want you to do it. That's very nice of you, dear, but are you sure you want me to? It's only fair. I'll wear my black bombazine and mother's old brooch. I'll go, dear. We promised Mortimer we wouldn't let anybody in. Who do you suppose it is? Wait a minute. It's two men. I've never seen them before. Are you sure? There's a car at the curb. They must have come in that. Let me look. Do you recognize them? They're strangers to me. We'll have to pretend we aren't at home.
Come in, Doctor. This is the home of my youth. As a boy, I could not wait to escape from it. Now, I'm glad to escape back into it.
Yeah, Tony. It's a fine hideout.
The family must still live here. There's something so unmistakably Brewster about the Brewsters. I hope there's a fatted calf awaiting the return of the prodigal.
Yeah, I'm hungry. Look, Johnny, drinks!
As though we were expecting. A good omen.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Why? Aunt Abby, Aunt Martha, it's Jonathan.
You get out of here!
But it's Jonathan. Your nephew, Jonathan?
Oh, you're not Jonathan. You're nothing like him, so don't pretend you are.
But
just get out of here.
But I am Jonathan. And this is Dr. Einstein.
And he's not Dr. Einstein either.
Not Dr. Albert Einstein, Dr. Herman Einstein.
Who are you? You're not our nephew, Jonathan.
Why, Aunt Abby, I see you're still wearing the lovely garnet ring Grandma Brewster bought in England. And Aunt Martha, still the high collar to hide the scar where grandfather's acid burned you.
His voice is like Jonathan's. Have you been in an accident?
My face. Dr. Einstein is responsible for that. He's a plastic surgeon. He changes people's faces.
Abby, I've seen that face before. Remember when we took Junior to the movies and I was so frightened? It was that face.
Easy, Johnny, easy. Don't worry, ladies. It's the last 5 years I kept Johnny 3 new faces. I'll give him another one right away. It's this last face. Well, I saw that picture too, right before I operate. When I was intoxicated.
You see what you did to me? Even my own family!
Johnny, you're home. It's this lovely house. How often he tells me about Brooklyn, about this house, about his aunt that he loves so much. Say no, you Johnny. You know it's Jonathan. Speak to him. Tell him so.
Well, Jonathan, it's been a very long time. What have you been doing all these years? Yes. Where have you been?
Oh, South Africa, Australia, the last 5 years Chicago. Dr. Einstein and I were in business there together.
Oh, we were in Chicago for the World's Fair. Yes, we found Chicago awfully warm.
Yeah, it got hot first too.
Oh, but it's good to be back in Brooklyn. And you, my dear aunt, are just as I remember. Sweet, charming, hospitable. Oh, but dear Teddy, did he get into politics? My brother, Doctor, was determined to become president.
Oh, Teddy's fine, just fine, and Mortimer's well, too.
I know about Mortimer. I've seen his picture at the head of his column. It seems he's fulfilled all the promise of his early, nasty nature.
We're very fond of Mortimer. Well, it was very nice to have seen you again, Jonathan.
Bless you, Aunt Martha. It's good to be home again.
Well, Martha, we mustn't let what's on the stove boil over. Yes, if you'll excuse us for a minute, unless you're in a hurry to go someplace.
Well, Johnny, where do we go from here? We got to think fast. So police have got pictures of that face. I got to operate a new right away. We got to find some place for that. And we got to find a place for Mr. Spinozzo, too.
Forget Mr. Spinozzo.
But Johnny, we got a hot stiff on our hands.
Don't waste any worry on that rat.
But Johnny, you can't leave a dead body in the rumble seat. You shouldn't have killed him. He's a nice fellow. He gives us a lift and what happens?
He said I looked like Boris Karloff. That's your work, Doctor. You did that to me.
Now, Johnny, if you find a place somewhere, I fix you quick.
Tonight.
But Johnny, I got to eat first. I'm hungry. I'm weak.
Doctor.
Jonathan, we're glad that you remembered us and took the time to say hello. But you were never happy in this house, and we were never happy while you were in it. So we've just come in to say goodbye.
Aunt Abby, I can't say your feeling towards me comes as a surprise. I've spent a great many hours regretting the many heartaches I must have caused you as a boy.
You were quite a trial to us, Jonathan.
But my great disappointment is for Dr. Einstein. I promised him that no matter how rushed we were through Brooklyn, I'd bring him here for one of Aunt Martha's home-cooked dinners.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm afraid there wouldn't be enough. Abby, it's a pretty good-sized pot roast.
Pot roast?
I think the least we can do is to...
Bless you, Aunt Martha. We'll stay to dinner.
Well, we'll hurry it along then. Yes. Oh, Jonathan, if you want to freshen up, why don't you use the washroom in Grandfather's old laboratory?
Grandfather's old laboratory. Is that still there?
Oh, yes, just as he left it. Well, I'll go help Martha in the kitchen, since we're all in a hurry.
Well, if we get to meal anyway.
Grandfather's old laboratory. And just as it was, Doctor, the perfect operating room.
Too bad we can't use it.
Why, Doctor, when you're finished with me, we could make a fortune here. The laboratory, that large ward in the attic, 10 beds, Doctor! And Brooklyn is crying for your talents.
Why work yourself up, Johnny? Anyway, for Brooklyn, I think we're a year too late.
Doctor, you don't know this town. Practically everybody in Brooklyn needs a new face.
But so many of the old faces are locked up.
A very small percentage. And the boys in Brooklyn are famous for paying generously to stay out of jail.
Take it easy, Johnny. Your aunts, they don't want us here.
We've been invited to dinner, haven't we?
Yeah, but after dinner?
Leave that to me, Doctor. We'll be invited.
But Johnny!
Doctor, we'll be invited.
And if they say no?
Doctor, two helpless old women?
So it comes to a beautiful dream. Only I hope you're not dreaming. It's so peaceful.
That's what makes this place perfect for us. It's so peaceful. Yes, those 5 years in Chicago were amongst the busiest and happiest of my life.
And from Chicago, we go to South Bend, Indiana.
They wouldn't be interested in our experience in South Bend.
Well, Jonathan, you've led a very interesting life, I'm sure, but we really shouldn't have allowed you to talk so late.
My meeting Dr. Einstein in London, I might say, changed the course of my life. You remember I was in South Africa, the diamond business, then Amsterdam, the diamond market. I wanted to go back to South Africa, and Dr. Einstein made that possible for me.
A good job, Johnny. When he takes the bandages off, his face looks so different to nurse had to introduce me.
I love that face, Doctor. I still keep the picture with me.
This looks more the way you used to look, but still, I wouldn't know you.
I think we'll go back to that face, Doctor.
Yeah, it's safe now.
Well, Jonathan, I know you both want to get to where you're going.
My dear aunts, I'm so full of that delicious dinner, I can hardly move a muscle.
Yeah, it's nice here.
After all, it's very late, and...
I found it! I found it!
What did you find, Teddy?
The story of my life! My biography! Here's the picture I was telling you about, General. President Roosevelt and General Goethals at Culebra Cut. That's me, General, and that's you!
My life changed.
No! You see, this picture hasn't been taken yet. We haven't even begun to work on Culebra Cut. We're still digging the locks in Panama. That reminds me, General. Come with me to inspect the new lock.
No, Teddy, not to Panama.
We go some other time. Panama's a long way off.
Nonsense! It's just down in the cellar.
The cellar?
We let him dig the Panama Canal in the cellar.
General Goethals, as President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy, and the man who gave you this job, I demand that you come with me to inspect the new lock.
Teddy! I think it's time you went to bed.
I beg your pardon. Who are you?
I'm Woodrow Wilson. Go to bed.
You're not Wilson, but your face is familiar, you see. You're not someone I know now. Maybe later, on my hunting trip to Africa. You look like someone I might see in the jungle.
It's your brother, Jonathan, dear. He's had his face changed.
So that's it, a nature faker.
And perhaps you better get to bed, Teddy. Jonathan and his friend have to go back to their hotel.
General Goethals, inspect the canal.
How about you, Mr. President? We go to Panama.
Bully! Follow me, General. It's down south.
Aunt Abby, I must correct your misapprehension. You spoke of our hotel. We have no hotel. We came directly here.
Well, there's a very nice hotel just 3 blocks down the...
Aunt Martha, this is my home.
But Jonathan, you can't stay here. We need our rooms.
You need them?
Yes, for our lodgers.
Are there lodgers in this house?
Well, not just now, but we plan to have some.
Then my old room is still empty.
But Jonathan, there's no room for Dr. Einstein.
He'll share the room with me.
No, Jonathan, I'm afraid you can't stay here.
Aunt Abby, you remembered this afternoon that as a boy I could be disagreeable. It wouldn't be very pleasant for any of us if...
Perhaps we better let them stay here tonight.
Then that's settled. Now, if you'll get our room ready.
It only needs airing out. We keep it ready to show our lodgers. You and Dr. Einstein will find it comfortable.
You have a very distinguished guest in Dr. Einstein. I'm afraid you don't appreciate that. But you will. In a few weeks, you'll see me looking like a very different Jonathan.
He can't operate on you here.
Why, when Dr. Einstein and I get organized... Oh, I forgot to tell you. We're turning Grandfather's old laboratory into an operating room.
Jonathan, we will not let you turn this house into a hospital.
A hospital? Heavens no! This place will be a beauty parlor.
Hey, Johnny, down to sir.
Dr. Einstein, just in time. My aunts have invited us to live with them.
Oh, you fixed it?
Yeah, just for tonight.
Now get our room ready immediately.
Well, just for tonight.
Johnny, when I go down to cellar, what do you think I find?
What?
The Panama Canal.
The Panama Canal.
It just beats Mr. Spinozzo. It's a whole teddy dog. 6 feet long and 4 feet wide. Down there! You'd think St. Newby would bring Mr. Spinozzo along. Such hospitality.
Rather a good joke on my aunts. They're living in a house with a body buried in the cellar.
How did we get to me?
Well, we can't just walk them in through the front door. We'll bring the car up behind the house and between the cemetery. Then, when they've gone to bed, we'll bring them in through the window.
Bed, just think! We've got the bed tonight!
Easy, Doctor. Remember, you're operating tonight.
I fix you up beautiful.
And if you don't...
Jonathan, your room is ready.
Then you two can go to bed. We're bringing the car up around the house.
It's all right where it is until morning.
Well, I don't just want to leave it in the street. That might be illegal.
Abby, what are we going to do? Well, we can't very well let them stay here more than one night for one thing. What would the neighbors think? People coming in here with one face and going out with another? What are we going to do about Mr. Hoskins? Oh, Mr. Hoskins! It can't be very comfortable for him in there, and he's been so patient, the poor dear. Well, I think Teddy had better bring him downstairs right away. Abby, I will not invite Jonathan to the funeral services. Oh no, we'll wait until after they've gone to bed, then hold the services.
General Goethals is very pleased. He says the canal is just the right size.
Teddy! Teddy, there's been another yellow fever victim.
This will be a shock to the general.
Then we mustn't tell him about it.
But it's his department.
No, Teddy, we mustn't tell him. It would spoil his visit.
I'm sorry, Aunt Abby, but it's out of my hands. He must be told. Army regulations, you know.
No, Teddy, we must keep it a secret. Yes.
A state secret?
Yes, a state secret. Promise?
You have my word. Cross my heart and hope to die. Now, how are we going to keep this a secret?
Well, dear, you go back down to the cellar, and when I turn out the lights, when it's all dark, you bring the poor man down to the canal. Now go along, Teddy, and we'll come down later and hold services.
You may announce the president. We'll say a few words. Where is the poor devil?
He's in the window seat.
It seems to be spreading. We've never had yellow fever victims there before.
Martha, when Jonathan and Dr. Einstein come back, let's see if we can get them to go to bed right away. Yes, by the time they're asleep, we'll be dressed and ready for services. Abby, I've never even seen Mr. Hoskins. Oh my goodness, that's right, you were out. Well, just come right over and take a look. He's really quite good looking, considering he's a Methodist.
We're bringing the luggage through here.
Jonathan, everything's ready. You can bring it right upstairs.
I'm afraid we don't keep Brooklyn hours. You two can run along to bed.
Now, you must be very tired, both of you. And we don't go to bed this early.
Well, it's time I came home and start taking care of you.
We weren't planning on going until...
Aunt Martha, did you hear me say go to bed? The instruments can go upstairs in the morning. Now, we're all going to bed.
I'll wait until you're up, then turn out the lights.
Another flight, Doctor. Run along, Aunt Martha. Now, Aunt Abby.
I'll be right up.
Now, Aunt Abby, turn out the lights.
Alright, Johnny.
You go around and bring him through. I'll get the window open.
No, he's too heavy for me. You go outside and push. I stay here and pull. Send together, we get him down to Panama.
All right. When I tap on the glass, open the window.
All right. Who left this open? Junko! Shani? Okay. Alley-oop. Wait a minute. You lost a leg somewhere. Now I got him. Shh. That was me, Johnny. Pitch slipped.
Be more careful.
Well, the shoe came off. All right, Johnny, I got him. Johnny, somebody at the door. Go quick. No, I'm out here. Go quick.
And what are you doing here?
I came over to see Miss Abby and Miss Martha.
Turn on the lights, Doctor. You chose a rather untimely moment for a social call.
I think you'd better explain what you're doing here.
We happen to live here.
You don't live here. I'm in this house every day, and I've never seen you before. Where are Miss Abby and Miss Martha? What have you done to them?
Perhaps we'd better introduce ourselves. This is Dr. Einstein.
Dr. Einstein?
A surgeon of great distinction. And somewhat of a magician.
And I suppose you're going to tell me you're Boris Karloff.
I'm Jonathan Brewster.
Oh, you're Jonathan.
I see you've heard of me.
Yes, just this afternoon for the first time.
And what did they say about me?
Just that there was another brother named Jonathan, that's all that was said. Well, that explains everything. Now that I know who you are, have
I'll be running along now. If you'll kindly unlock the door.
That explains everything. Just what did you mean by that? Why did you come here at this time of night?
I thought I saw someone prowling around the house. I suppose it was you.
You thought you saw someone prowling around the house?
Yes. Weren't you outside? Isn't that your car?
You saw someone at the car?
Yes.
What else did you see?
Just someone walking around the house to the car.
What else did you see?
Just that, that's all. That's why I came over here. I wanted to tell Miss Abby to call the police, but if that was you and that was your car, I don't need to bother Miss Abby. I'll be running along.
What was the man doing at the car?
I don't know. I was on my way over here, you see.
I think you're lying.
I think she tells the truth. We let her go now, huh?
I think she's lying. Breaking into houses at this time of night, I think she's dangerous. She shouldn't be allowed around. Loose!
Ah! Take your hands off me!
Doctor!
It's going to be a private funeral.
Teddy! Teddy, tell these men who I am!
That's my daughter, Alice!
No! No! Teddy!
Handkerchief? The cell.
What's the matter? What's happening down there?
We caught a burglar. A sneak thief.
We'll call the police.
We've called the police. We'll handle this. Go to bed.
Where have you been?
To the N.A.H.S Theater. And I should have known better. My God, I'm still there.
It's your brother, Jonathan, dear. And this is Dr. Einstein.
I know this isn't a nightmare, but what is it? I've come back home, Mortimer. Who did you say this was?
It's your brother, Jonathan, dear. He's had his face changed. Dr. Einstein performed the operation.
Jonathan? Jonathan, you always were a horror, but do you have to look like one?
Easy, Johnny. Easy.
Mortimer, have you forgotten when we were boys? The time you were tied to the bedpost? The needles under your fingernails? By God, it is Jonathan. Yes, I remember. I remember you as the most detestable, vicious, venomous form of animal life I ever knew.
Now, don't you two boys start quarreling again the minute you've seen each other.
There won't be any fight, Aunt Abby. Jonathan, you're not wanted here. Get out.
Why? Dr. Einstein and I have been invited to stay.
Not in this house.
Just for tonight.
I don't want him anywhere near me.
But we did invite them for tonight, and it wouldn't be very nice to go back on our word.
All right, tonight. But first thing in the morning, out. Now, where are they sleeping?
We put them in Jonathan's old room.
That's my old room. I'm sleeping in that room. I'm here to stay.
Oh, Mortimer, I'm so glad.
Johnny, you sleep down here tonight.
You bet your life you sleep down here.
You sleep on the sofa, and I sleep on the window seat.
What? The window seat? Oh, well, let's not argue about it. That window seat's good enough for me tonight. I'll sleep on the window seat.
You know, Johnny, how this argument, it makes me think of Mr. Spinozzo.
Spinoza! Now, Mortimer, we really shouldn't inconvenience you like this. We'll sleep down here tonight. Jonathan, your sudden consideration for me is very unconvincing.
Come along, Johnny. We get these things out of the room.
Don't bother, Doctor. Doctor, I've completely lost track of Mr. Spinozzo. Who's this Mr. Spinozzo?
Just a friend of us Johnny's been looking for.
Well, don't bring anyone else in here.
It's all right, Tommy. I'll be back and tell you all about it.
Mortimer, you don't have to stay down here. I can go in with Martha and you can take my room.
Aunt Abby, it's no trouble at all. We'll sleep down here tonight.
Don't bother. I told you I'm sleeping down here.
Mortimer!
Elaine, what's the matter with you, dear?
I've almost been killed.
You've almost been... Abby! Martha!
No, it was Jonathan. He mistook her for a sneak thief. No, it was more than that. He's some kind of maniac. Mortimer, I'm afraid of him.
Darling, you're trembling. Have you got any smelling salts?
No, but do you think some hot tea or coffee?
Coffee. And make some for me, too. And some sandwiches. I haven't had any dinner.
We'll make something for both of you. Martha, we can leave our hats downstairs here now.
You weren't going somewhere, were you? Do you know what time it is? It's after 12. 12! Oh. Elaine, you've got to go home.
What? Oh, you wanted some sandwiches for you both. I won't be a minute. Why, don't you remember? We wanted to celebrate your engagement. That's what we'll do, dear. We'll make a nice supper for both of you. And we'll open a bottle of wine.
No! Why?
Mortimer, what's going on in this house?
Well, what do you mean? What's going on in this house?
You were supposed to take me to dinner in the theater tonight. You called it off. You asked me to marry you. I said I would, and 5 minutes later you threw me out of the house. Tonight, after your brother tries to strangle me, you want to chase me home. Now look, Mr. Brewster, before I go home, I want to know where I stand. Do you love me?
I love you very much, Elaine. In fact, I love you so much, I can't marry you.
Have you suddenly gone crazy?
I don't think so, but it's just a matter of time. See, insanity runs in my family. It practically gallops. If you really knew my family, it's what you'd expect if Strindberg had written Hell's a Poppin'.
No, just because Teddy is a little...
No. There's a strange taint in the Brewster blood. Everyone in it is insane.
But you've got to do better than that.
No, it goes way back. The first Brewster, the one who came over on the Mayflower. You know, in those days, the Indians used to scalp the settlers. Well, he used to scalp the Indians.
Mortimer, that's ancient history.
No, the whole family. Take my grandfather. He used to try his patent medicines out on dead people to make sure he wouldn't kill them.
He wasn't so crazy. He made $1 million.
And there's Teddy, too. You know Teddy. He thinks he's Roosevelt. And even so, the whole family is just insane.
Now, darling, all this doesn't prove you're crazy.
Elaine, there's Jonathan, too. Jonathan is a maniac. He tried to kill you.
But all this doesn't prove you're crazy. Look at your aunts. They're Brewsters, aren't they? And the sanest, sweetest people I've ever met.
Well, even they have their peculiarities.
Yes, but what lovely peculiarities. Kindness, generosity, human sympathy.
There's another one!
Mortimer, there are plenty of others. You can't tell me a thing about your aunts.
I'm not going to. Now, Elaine, you've got to go home. Something's come up.
Up from where? We're here alone together.
Look, I know I'm acting irrationally, but just put it down to the fact that I'm a mad Brewster.
If you think you're going to get out of this by pretending you're insane, you're crazy. Maybe you're not going to marry me, but I'm going to marry you. I love you, you dope.
If you love me, will you get the hell out of here?
Well, at least take me home, won't you? I'm afraid.
Afraid? A little walk to the cemetery? Wait, Elaine.
Mortimer, will you kiss me goodnight?
Of course, dear. Well, good night, dear. I'll call you up in the morning.
You critic!
What? Elaine! Elaine! you promised me not to let anybody in this house while I was gone.
Well, Jonathan
I
just
don't mean
walked
Jonathan.
in, and Dr. Einstein
I
was
do
with
not
him.
mean Dr. Einstein. Who's that in the window seat?
We told you, Mr. Hoskins.
It is not Mr. Hoskins.
Well, who can that be?
Are you trying to tell me that you have never seen this man before?
I certainly am. Well, this is a fine how do you do. It's getting so anybody thinks he can just walk into this house.
Aunt Abby, don't try to get out of this. That's another one of your gentlemen.
Why, Mortimer, how could you say such a thing? That man's an imposter, and if he thinks he can be buried in our cellar, he's mistaken.
Aunt Abby, you admitted to me that you put Mr. Hoskins in the cellar.
Yes, I did.
Well, this man couldn't have just gotten the idea from Mr. Hoskins. By the way, where is Mr. Hoskins?
He must have gone to Panama.
Oh, you buried him?
No, not yet. We're waiting for services. We haven't had a minute, what with Jonathan in this house. Oh dear, we've always wanted to hold a double funeral, but I will not read services over a total stranger.
A stranger? Aunt Abby, how can I believe you? There are 12 men buried in your cellar, and you admit that you poisoned them.
Yes, I did, but you don't think I'd stoop to telling a fib? Martha!
Oh, Mortimer, I'd like to have a word with you.
A word's about all you'll have time for, Jonathan, because I've decided you and your doctor friend are going to have to get out of here just as quickly as possible.
I'm glad you recognize the fact that we can't live under the same roof. But you've come to the wrong solution. Take your suitcase and get out!
Jonathan! You're beginning to bore me. You've played your one-night stand in Brooklyn. Move on!
Now, don't think that just because you graduated from the back bench to the typewriter, you've grown up. I'm staying, and you're leaving. I mean now!
If you think I can be frightened, if you think that there is anything I fear.
Mortimer, I've lived a very strange life, but it's taught me one thing, to be afraid of nothing.
Martha! Just look and see what's in the window seat!
Jonathan! Let Aunt Martha here see what's in the window seat. Aunt Abby, I believe I owe you an apology, but I have some very good news for you. Jonathan is leaving. He's taking Dr. Einstein and their cold companion with him. Jonathan, you're my brother. You're a Brewster. I'll give you a chance to get away and take the evidence with you. You can't ask for more than that. All right. I guess I'll have to call the police.
Don't reach for that telephone. Are you still giving me orders after seeing what's happened to Mr. Spinalzo?
Spinalzo? I knew he was a foreigner.
Remember, what happened to Mr. Spinalzo can happen to you, too.
Oh, Officer O'Hara, is there something we can do for you?
I saw your lights on, and I thought there might be a sickness in the house. Oh, you got company. I'm sorry I disturbed you.
No, come in.
Yes, come right in, Officer O'Hara. This is our nephew Mortimer.
Pleased to meet you.
And this is another nephew, Jonathan.
Pleased to make your acquaintance. Well, it must be nice having your nephews visiting you. Are they going to be staying with you for a bit?
I'm staying. My brother Jonathan is leaving.
I met you here before, haven't I?
I'm afraid not. Jonathan hasn't been home for years.
Well, maybe I've seen a photograph of you somewhere.
I don't think so.
Yes, Jonathan. Your things are all packed anyway, aren't they?
Well, you'll be wanting to say your goodbyes. I'll be running along.
Oh, what's the rush? I'd like to have you stick around until my brother goes.
I just came to make sure everything was all right.
Look, we're going to have some coffee in a minute. Won't you join us?
Oh, I forgot the coffee. I better
make some more sandwiches. I ought to know your appetite by this time, Officer O'Hara.
Don't bother. I'm due to ring in a few minutes.
You can have a cup of coffee. Come, sit down.
Say, ain't I seen a photograph of your brother someplace?
I don't think so.
He certainly reminds me of somebody.
He looks like somebody you've probably seen in the movies.
I don't go to the movies. I hate them. My mother says movies is a bastard art.
Yes, it's full of them. Your, mother said that?
Yes. My mother was an actress, a stage actress. You may have heard of her. Peaches Latour.
Sounds like a name I've seen on a program. What did she play?
Her big hit was Mutt and Jeff. Played it for 3 years. I was born on tour, the 3rd season.
You were?
Yep, Sioux City, Iowa. I was born during the 2nd act. My mother made the finale.
What a trooper. There must be a good story in your mother. You know, I would write about the theater.
You do? Say, you are not Mortimer Brewster, the dramatic critic.
Yes, that's me.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, sir. You know, Mr. Brewster, we're in the same business.
We are?
Yes, I'm a playwright. Oh, this being on the police force is just temporary.
How long have you been on the force?
12 years. I'm collecting material for a play.
I'll bet it's a honey.
It ought to be. You have no idea what goes on around here in Brooklyn, Mr. Brewster.
I think I have.
Say, what time you got?
10 after 1.
I gotta ring in.
Wait a minute. O'Hara, on that play of yours, I may be able to help you.
You will? Say, it was my fate walking in here tonight. I'll tell you the plot.
Good. You're leaving now. You haven't got much time, you know.
Well, everything's just about ready. Oh, you leaving now, Jonathan? Goodbye. Goodbye, Dr. Einstein. Oh, doesn't this case belong to you?
Yes, Jonathan. You can't leave without taking all of your things with you. Well, O'Hara, it was nice meeting you. I'll see you again and we'll talk about your play.
Oh, I'm not leaving now, Mr. Brewster.
Why not?
Well, you just offered to help me write my play, didn't you? You and me are going to write my play together.
I can't do that, O'Hara. I'm not a creative writer.
I'll do the creating. You just put the words into it.
But, O'Hara!
No, sir, Mr. Brewster. I am not leaving here without telling you the plot.
In that case, we'll be running along.
No, don't do that. You can't leave yet. You've got to take everything with you, you know. Look! O'Hara! You run along now. My brother's just going.
I can wait. I've been waiting 12 years.
I'm sorry I was so long.
Oh, don't bring that in here. O'Hara, would you join us for a bite in the kitchen?
The kitchen? Jonathan's leaving. Oh, well, that's nice. Come along, Officer O'Hara.
Yes, come on.
Well, you don't mind eating in the kitchen, Mr. O'Hara.
And where else would you eat?
Goodbye, Jonathan. Nice to have seen you again.
I'm glad you came back to Brooklyn, Jonathan, because it gives me a chance to throw you out. And the first one out is your boyfriend, Mr. Spinozzo.
Look, Mr. Brewster, we can talk in here.
Coming right out, coming right out.
I might have known you'd grow up to write a play with a policeman.
Get going now, all 3 of you.
Doctor, this thing between my brother and I has got to be settled.
Now, Charlie, your brother gives us a chance to get away. What more could you ask?
Doctor, you don't understand. This goes back a good many years.
Now, Charlie, let's get going.
We're staying here tonight.
There's a cop in the kitchen, Mr. Spinozzo in the window seat.
That's all he's got on us. We'll bring Mr. Spinozzo down and dump him in the bank, and we'll come right back here. Then, if he tries to interfere...
Now, Johnny.
Doctor, you know when I make up my mind.
Yeah, when you make up your mind, you lose your head. Brooklyn ain't a good place for you.
Doctor.
All right, we got to stick together. Someday, we get stuck together. If we're coming back here, do we got to take these with us?
No.
Hide them in the cellar. Mr. Spinalzo can go out the same way you came in.
Hey, Johnny, come quick.
What?
You know that hole in the cellar?
Yes?
You got an ace in the hole. Come on, I show you.
Jonathan! Jonathan! Jonathan?
Yes? Mortimer?
I thought I told you to get going.
We're staying here.
Oh, you are you? You think I'm not serious about this? Do you want Officer O'Hara to know what's in that window seat?
We're staying here tonight.
Very well. You asked for it. This gets me rid of you and Officer O'Hara at the same time. Officer O'Hara, come in here.
If you tell Officer O'Hara about what's in the window seat, we'll tell him about what's in the cellar.
The cellar?
There's an elderly gentleman down there who seems to be quite dead.
What were you two doing down in the cellar?
What's he doing down the cellar?
No thanks now. I've had plenty. They were fine.
Now what are you going to say to Officer O'Hara?
Look, Mr. Brewster, your aunts want to hear the plot too. Shall I get them in here?
No, you can't do that now, O'Hara. You've got to ring in.
To hell with ringing in. I'll get your aunts in here and tell you guys the plot.
No. Not with all these people. We'll get alone. We'll get together alone someplace later.
How about the back room at Kelly's?
Fine. You go ring in and I'll meet you at Kelly's.
Why don't you go down in the cellar?
That's fine with me.
No. O'Hara, we'll meet at Kelly's, but you're going to ring in on the way.
All right. That'll only take a couple of minutes.
I'll ditch this guy and be back in 5 minutes. I'll expect to find you two gone. Wait for me.
Oh, I waited a good many years for a chance like this.
We got him right where we want him. Did he look guilty?
Yes. Now take our bags back upstairs. We'll be staying here tonight.
Have they gone? Oh, we thought we heard somebody leave.
Oh, that was just Mortimer. He'll be back in a few minutes. Say, is there any food left in the kitchen?
Oh, but you won't have time. No, if you're still here when Mortimer comes back, he won't like it.
He'll like it. He's got to like it.
Now, go get something for us to eat while we bury Mr. Spinalzo in the cellar.
Oh, no! No, he can't stay here, Jonathan. No, you've got to take him with you.
There's a friend of Mortimer's down there waiting for him.
A friend of Mortimer's?
Yes, they'll get along just fine. They're both dead.
They must mean Mr. Hoskins.
Mr. Hoskins?
You know about what's in the cellar?
Of course we do. And he's no friend of Mortimer's. He's one of our gentlemen.
Your gentleman?
And we won't have any strangers buried in our cellar.
But Mr. Hoskins.
Mr. Hoskins isn't a stranger. And besides, there's no room. The cellar's crowded already.
Crowded? With what?
There are 12 graves down there.
12 graves!
That leaves very little room, and we're going to need it.
You mean you and Aunt Martha have murdered?
Murdered? Certainly not. It's one of our charities. Why, what we've been doing is a mercy. So you just take your Mr. Spinalzo out of here.
You've done that. In this house. And you buried them down there.
Shawnee, people chase all over the world. They stay right here in Brooklyn and do just as good as you do.
What?
You've got 12 and they've got 12.
I've got 13.
No, Johnny, 12.
13. There's Mr. Spinalzo, the first one in London, 2 in Johannesburg, 1 in Sydney, 1 in Melbourne, 2 in San Francisco, 1 in Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix?
The filling station. 3 in Chicago, and 1 in South Bend. That makes 13.
But you can't count the one in South Bend. He died of pneumonia.
He wouldn't have gotten pneumonia if I hadn't shot him.
No, Johnny, he died of pneumonia. You don't count.
He counts with me. I say 13.
No, Johnny, you've got 12 and they've got 12. So you old ladies are just as good as you are.
Well, that's easily fixed. All I need is one more. Just one more. Well, here I am.
You stop doing that! This is our house and this is our cellar and you can't do that!
Ladies, please, go back upstairs where you belong. Abby, Martha, go upstairs.
There's no use here doing what you're doing because we'll just have to be undone! I tell you we won't have it, so you better stop it right now! Alright, you'll find out! You'll find out whose house this is! I'm warning you, you better stop it! Hasn't Mortimer come back yet? No? It's a terrible thing to do, to bury a good Methodist with a foreigner. I will not have our cellar desecrated, and we promised Mr. Hoskins a full Christian funeral. Where do you suppose Mortimer went? I don't know, but he must be doing something, because he said, you just wait, I'll settle this. Well, he can't very well settle it while he's out of the house, and that's all we want settled. What's going on down there?
All right. Now, where's Teddy?
Mortimer, where have you been?
I've been over to Dr. Gilchrist. I've got his signature on Teddy's commitment papers.
Mortimer, what is the matter with you? Running around getting papers signed at a time like this? Do you know what Jonathan's been doing? He's putting Mr. Hoskins and Mr. Spinozzo in together.
Oh, he is he? Well, let him. Is Teddy in his room?
Teddy won't be any help.
Once I get Teddy's signature on these papers, I can tackle Jonathan.
What are they going to do with it?
Well, you had to go and tell Jonathan about those 12 graves. If I can make Teddy responsible for those, I can protect you. Don't you see?
No, I don't see. And we pay taxes to have the police protect us.
I'll be back in a minute.
Come, Martha. We're going for the police.
All right. The police? You can't go for the police.
Why can't we?
Well, because if you tell the police about Mr. Spinozzo, they'd find out about Mr. Hoskins. And that might make them curious, then they'd find your other 12 gentlemen too.
Mortimer, we know the police better than you do. I don't think they'd pry into our private affairs if we asked them not to.
But if they found your 12 bodies, they'd have to report to headquarters.
Oh, I don't think they'd bother. They'd have to write out a very long report. And if there's one thing a policeman hates to do, it's to write.
You can't depend on that. It might leak out. And besides, you couldn't expect a judge and a jury to understand.
Oh, Judge Colemanwood. We know him very well. He always comes to church to pray just before election. And he's coming to tea someday, he's promised. Oh, Abby, we better speak to him about that again. His wife died a few years ago. It's left him very lonely. Yeah, come along, Martha.
No, you can't do this. I won't let you. You can't have Judge Coleman to tea, and you can't leave this house.
Well, if you're not going to do something about Mr. Spinozzo, we are.
I am going to do something. We may have to call the police in later, but if we do, I want to be ready for them.
If they're not out of this house by morning, Mortimer, we're going to call the police.
Will you please let me do this my own way? All right. Go to bed, will you? For God's sakes, get out of those clothes. You look like Judith Anderson.
Well, Abby, that's a relief, isn't it? Yes. If Mortimer's really going to do something at last, it just means Jonathan's going to a lot of unnecessary trouble. We'd better tell him. Oh, Jonathan, you might as well stop what you're doing.
It's already done. Did I hear Mortimer?
Well, it will just have to be undone. You're all going to be out of this house by morning. Mortimer
Then Mortimer is back. In that case, you two can go upstairs and have a pleasant night's sleep.
Yes, come, Abby.
Good night, aunties.
Not good night, Jonathan. Goodbye. By the time we get up, you'll be out of this house. Mortimer's promised.
And he has a way of doing it, too.
Then Mortimer is back.
Oh, yes, he's just upstairs talking to Teddy.
Goodbye, Jonathan.
Goodbye, Jonathan.
Perhaps you'd better say goodbye to Mortimer.
Oh, you'll see, Mortimer.
Oh, I'll see Mortimer.
Phew, that's so big stuff. Smooth like a lake. Nobody ever knows they go down there. That bed feels good already. 48 hours if you didn't sleep. Come on, Charlie, let's go up, yes?
You're forgetting, Doctor.
But,
My brother, Mortimer.
Charlie, tonight? We do that tomorrow, or the next day.
No, tonight, now.
But Charlie, I'm tired. Tomorrow I got to operate.
Doctor, you're operating tomorrow, but tonight we take care of Mortimer.
But Charlie, not tonight. We go to bed, eh?
It's a little late for us to dissolve our partnership.
Okay, we do it. But it's a quick thing. It's a quick twist, like in London.
Oh, Doctor, I think this calls for something special. I think perhaps the Melbourne method.
No, Charlie, not that. 2 hours! And then it was all over but the fellow in London was just as dead as the fellow in Melbourne.
We had to work too fast in London. There was no aesthetic satisfaction to it. But in Melbourne, there was something to remember.
Remember? I wish I didn't. No, Charlie, not Melbourne, not me.
Yes, Doctor. Where are your instruments?
I won't do it, Charlie, I won't do it.
You will, Doctor. Where are your instruments?
I won't tell you.
You hid them in the cellar. I'll find them, Doctor.
Don't do that, Mr. President!
I cannot sign any proclamation without consulting my cabinet first.
But this must be a secret.
A secret proclamation? How unusual.
Japan mustn't know until it's signed.
Japan? Those yellow devils. I'll sign it right away. You have my word. The cabinet can know later.
Yes, let's go and sign it.
You wait here. A secret proclamation must be signed in secret.
But at once, Mr. President.
I'll go put on my signing clothes.
You go now, eh?
No, Doctor, I've got to do something. Something important.
Please, you go now.
No, Doctor. Now listen. You seem to be a very nice fellow. Take my advice and get out of this house and get away just as quickly as possible.
Trouble, yeah? You get out.
All right. Don't say I didn't warn you.
I'm warning you. Get away quick.
Things are going to start popping around here any minute.
Listen, Johnny's in a bad mood. When he's like this, he's a madman. Things happen. Terrible things.
Jonathan doesn't worry me now.
Kill him. Don't those plays you see teach you anything?
About what?
Well, at least people in plays act like they got sense, so it's more than you do.
Oh, you think people in plays act intelligently. Well, I wish you had to sit through some of the ones I have to sit through. Take the little opus I saw tonight, for instance. In this play, there's a man. He's supposed to be bright. He knows he's in a house with murderers. He's even been warned to get out of the house. But does he go? No, he stays there. Now I ask you, Doctor, is that what an intelligent person would do?
You're asking me?
He didn't even have enough sense to be frightened, to be on guard. For instance, the murderer invites him to sit down.
You mean, won't you sit down?
Believe it or not, that one was in there too.
And what did he do?
He sat down! Now mind you, this fellow's supposed to be bright. There he sits, just waiting to be trussed up. And what do you think they used to tie him with?
What?
The curtain tie.
Well, why not? A good idea. Very convenient.
A little too convenient. When are playwrights going to use some imagination? The curtain tie.
You didn't see him get it?
No! He sat there with his back to him. And that's the kind of stuff we have to suffer through night after night. And they say the critics are killing the theater. It is the playwrights who are killing the theater. So there he sits, the big dope, just waiting to be trussed up and gagged. Wait, Jonathan, what are you doing? What are you doing?
You're right about that fella. He wasn't very bright.
Now, Mortimer, if you don't mind, we'll finish the story. Mortimer, I have been away for 20 years, and never once in all that time, my dear brother, did you leave my mind. In Melbourne one night, I dreamed of you. In San Francisco, I felt a strange satisfaction. Once more, I was in the same country as you. Oh. Now, doctor, we go to work.
Please, Johnny, for me, the quick way.
Doctor, this really must be an artistic achievement. After all, we're performing before a very distinguished critic.
Johnny!
Doctor!
All right.
He's all ready for you, Doctor.
I got to have a drink. I can't do this without a drink.
Pull yourself together, Doctor.
I got to have a drink. When we walked in here this afternoon, there was wine here, remember? Where did she put that? Look, Johnny, you got to drink. That's all there is. It's a privilege with you. We both need to drink.
Doctor, where are your manners? Yes, Mortimer, I now see it was you who brought me back to England. Doctor, to my dear, dead brother. Deputy! He goes next, that's all! He goes next!
No, Johnny, not Eddie! That's where I stop, not Eddie!
We get to him later.
We don't get to him at all!
Now, Doctor, we've got to work fast!
Yeah, it's the quick way, hey, Johnny?
Yes, Doctor, the quick way.
Hey, the colonel's not blowing that horn.
We're taking the bugle away from him.
There's gonna be hell pay in the morning. We promised neighbors we wouldn't do that anymore.
We'll take care of it, Doctor. Good night.
I'd better speak to him myself. Where are the lights? Hey! You stood me up. I waited for an hour at Kelly's for you. What happened to him?
He was explaining the play he saw tonight. That's what happens as a fellow in the play.
Did they have that in the play you saw tonight? Gee, they practically stole that from the second act of my play. Well, you see, in my second act, just before I better begin from the beginning. It all starts in my mother's dressing room where I was born, only I ain't born yet. Huh? Oh, yeah. No! You have to hear the plot. She's sitting there, making up, you see, when all of a sudden, through the door, in comes a man with a black mustache. He turns to my mother and says, "Miss Latour, will you marry me?" He doesn't know she's pregnant. There she is, lying unconscious in her lingerie. The chink is standing over her with a hatchet. I'm tied up in a chair, just like you are. The place is an inferno with flames. It's on fire. In comes Mary LaGuardia. Hey, remember who paid for that? Go easy on it.
Well, listening, ain't I?
Well, how do you like it so far?
Well, but Johnny to sleep.
Let him alone. If he ain't got no more interest in that, he don't get a drink. All right. It's 3 days later, and I've been transferred. I'm under charges. But that is because somebody stole my badge. All right. I'm walking my beat on Staten Island when it turns out a guy I'm following is actually following me. Don't let anybody in. So I figure I'll outsmart him. There's a vacant house on the corner. I goes in.
It's cops!
I stand there in the dark and I see the door handle turn.
Johnny, it's cops! Cops!
I pulls my gun out, braces myself against the wall, and I says, "Come in!" Hello, boys.
What the hell's going on here?
Hey, Pat. What do you know? This is Warner Brewster. He's going around my play with me. I'm just telling him the story.
Did you have to tie him up to make him listen?
Joe, you better report it to the station. The whole force is out looking for you.
Did they send you here for me?
We didn't know you was here.
We came to warn the old ladies that there's hell to pay. The colonel blew that bugle again in the middle of the night.
From the way the neighbors have been calling in about it, he thinks the Germans have dropped a bomb on Flatbush Avenue.
The lieutenant's on the warpath. Says the colonel's got to be put away someplace. Yes! Yes!
Gee, Mr. Brewster, I gotta go get away, so I'll run through the third act quick.
Get away from me!
Say, do you know what time it is? It's after 8 o'clock in the morning.
It is. Gee, Mr. Brewster, them first 2 acts run a little long, but I don't see anything we can leave out.
You can leave it all out. Who the hell is this guy?
That's my brother.
The one that ran away? So he came back?
Yes, he came back!
This is Brophy. Get me, Mac. I'll have to let him know we found you, Joe. Mac, tell the lieutenant to call off the big man hunt. We got him. In the Brewster house. Do you want us to bring him in? Oh, all right. The lieutenant's on his way over.
So I've been turned in, eh? And I suppose you and that stool pigeon brother of mine will split the reward.
Reward?
Now I'll do some turning in of my own. You think my aunts are sweet, charming old ladies, but there are 13 bodies in the cellar. Teddy! Teddy!
What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, you better be careful what you're saying about your aunts. They happen to be friends of ours.
There are 13 graves in the cellar. I'll show you where they're buried.
Oh, yeah?
You don't want to see what's in the cellar?
Go on down in the cellar with me.
I'm not so sure I want to be alone with him. Look at that pus. He looks like Boris Karloff.
Hey!
What the hell?
Here, what do you think you're doing?
Well, what do you know about that?
Come in.
What the hell is going on here? I told you I was going to handle this.
Well, sir, we were just about to.
What happened? Did he put up a fight?
This ain't the guy that blows the bugle. This is his brother. He tried to kill Klein.
All I said was he looked like Boris Karloff.
Turn him over.
We kind of think he's wanted somewhere.
Oh, you kind of think he's wanted somewhere. Honestly, if you two don't read the circulars we hang out in the station, at least agree true detective. Certainly he's wanted. In Indiana. Escaped from the prison for the criminally insane. For God's sake, that's how he's described. He looks like Karloff.
Did you say there was a reward mentioned?
Yeah, and I'm claiming it.
He was trying to get us down in the cellar.
He said there were 13 bodies down there.
13 bodies buried in the cellar? And that didn't tip you off the camp of a nut house?
Oh, I thought all along he talked kind of crazy.
Oh, it's Shakespeare. Where have you been all night? And you need to bother to tell me.
I've been right here, sir. Writing my play with Mortimer Brewster.
Yeah, well, you're going to have plenty of time to finish that play. You're suspended. Now get back and report in.
Can I come over and use the station typewriter?
No! Get out of here. Take that guy somewhere else and bring him to. See what we can find out about his accomplice. The guy that helped him escape. He's wanted too. No wonder Brooklyn's in the shape it's in. The police force full of blackheads like you. Falling for that kind of a story. 13 bodies in the cellar.
Well, there are 13 bodies in the cellar.
Who are you?
I'm President Roosevelt.
What the hell is this?
He's the fellow that blows the bugle.
Good morning, Colonel.
Well, Colonel, you've blown your last bugle.
Dear me! Another yellow fever victim? What? Well, the bodies in the cellar are yellow fever victims!
Will you get this guy out of here?
He's a spy. Well, if there's any questioning of spies, that's my department!
You keep out of this!
Well, forgetting, as head of the Secret Service, that's me!
Captain, I'm Mortimer Brewster.
Are you sure?
I'd like to talk to you about my brother Teddy, the one who blew the bugle.
Mr. Brewster, there's nothing to talk about. He's got to be put away.
I quite agree. In fact, it's all arranged for. I've had his commitment papers signed by our family physician, Dr. Gilchrist. Teddy signed them himself, you see, and I've signed them as next of kin.
Where's he going?
Happydale.
All right, I don't care where he goes as long as he goes.
Oh, he's going all right. But I just want you to know that everything that's happened around here, Teddy's responsible for. Now, those 13 bodies in the cellar.
Yeah, 13 bodies in the cellar. It's not enough he's disturbing the neighbors with that bugle blowing and is scaring all of them, but can you imagine what would happen if that cockeyed story about 13 bodies in the cellar got around, and now he's starting a yellow fever scare? Cute, ain't it?
13 bodies. Do you think anybody would believe that story?
Well, you just can't tell. Some people are just dumb enough. Just last year, I had to dig up an entire half-acre lot in Greenway, just because some wacko started murder.
Will you excuse me?
Good morning, Mortimer.
Hello, Elaine.
This is Mr. Witherspoon. He's come to meet Teddy.
To meet Teddy?
Mr. Witherspoon is the superintendent of Happydale.
Oh, come right in. This is Captain.
Lieutenant. I'm glad you're here, Super, because you're taking me back with you today.
Today?
Not today.
Elaine, I've got some very important business to attend to, so you run along home. I'll call you up.
Nuts!
I had no idea it was this immediate.
The papers are all signed. He goes today.
Complete insubordination! You men will find out I'm no mollycoddle when the President of the United States is treated like this! What's this country coming to?
There's your man, Super.
Wait a minute. Mr. President, I have some very good news for you. Your term of office is over.
Is this March the 4th?
Practically.
Let's see. Now I go on my hunting trip to Africa! I'll get started right away. What's this? Is he trying to move into the White House before I've moved out?
Who, Teddy?
Taft!
That isn't Mr. Taft, Teddy. Why, that's Mr. Witherspoon. He's to be your guide in Africa.
Bully, bully! I'll bring down my ticket right away! Goodbye, Aunt Abby. Goodbye, Aunt Martha. Goodbye, everyone! I'm off to Africa! Isn't this wonderful? Charge!
Good morning, darlings.
Oh, we have visitors.
Yes, this is Lieutenant Rooney.
Oh, how do you do, Lieutenant? My, you don't look like the fuss budget the policemen say you are.
Why, the lieutenant came today. Well, you knew Teddy blew his bugle again last night.
Yes, we were going to speak to him about that.
It's a bit more serious than that, Mr. Brewster.
And you haven't met Mr. Witherspoon. He's the superintendent of Happydale.
Oh, Mr. Witherspoon, how do you do? You've come to meet Teddy?
He's come to take him.
See, aunties, the police want Teddy to go to Happy Dale today.
Oh no, not while we're alive.
I'm sorry, Mr. Brewster, but it has to be done. He's got to go along with the superintendent.
We won't permit it. We'll promise to take the bugle away from him. We won't be separated from Teddy.
I'm sorry, ladies, but the law is the law. He's committed himself, and he's going.
Well, if he goes, we're going too. Yes, you have to take us with him.
Well, why not?
Well, it's sweet of them to want to, but I'm afraid it's impossible. You see, we can't take sane people at Happydale.
Mr. Witherspoon, if you let us go with Teddy, we'll be sure to put Happydale in our will, and for a very generous amount.
Well, the Lord knows we could use some money, but I'm afraid...
Now, let's be sensible about this, lady. Here I am, wasting my morning when there's still murders to be solved in Brooklyn.
Yes. Oh, are there?
It's not just your nephew and his bugle blown and scaring the neighbors, but sooner or later, we'd be put through the trouble of digging up your cellar.
Our cellar?
Yeah, your nephew's been telling around that there are 13 bodies buried in your cellar.
But there are 13 bodies buried in the cellar. Oh, if that's why you think Teddy has to go away, you come right downstairs and we'll prove it to you. But there's one, Mr. Spinozzo, who doesn't belong here and will have to go. But the other 12 are our gentlemen.
Now, aunties, I don't think the lieutenant wants to go down in the cellar. He was just telling me that only last year he had to dig up an entire half-acre lot. Weren't you, Lieutenant?
That's right.
Oh, you wouldn't have to dig here. The graves are well marked. We put flowers on them every Sunday.
The flowers? Superintendent, don't you think you can find room for these ladies?
Well,
You come along with us and we'll show you the graves.
I'll take your word for it, ladies. I'm a busy man. How about it, Super?
well, they'd have to be committed.
Well, Teddy committed himself. Can't they commit themselves? Can't they sign the papers?
Why, certainly.
Oh, if we can go with Teddy, we'll sign the papers. Where are they? Yes, where are they?
It's coming around, Lieutenant.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Klein. Good morning, Mr. Klein. Are you here too?
Yeah, me and Brophy have got your other nephew out in the kitchen.
All right, Superintendent, let's get this all cleaned up. 13 bodies in the cellar.
If you'll sign right here.
And you here, Aunt Abby.
I'm really looking forward to going. The neighborhood has changed so. Just think, a front lawn again.
Oh, we're overlooking something.
What?
Well, we're going to need the signature of a doctor.
Oh, Dr. Einstein. Will you come over and sign some papers?
Please, I must.
Oh, Doctor, you can come sign some papers for us. Right over here, Doctor. Just sign right here, Doctor. And then right there, Doctor.
Were you leaving, Doctor?
I think I must go.
Aren't you going to wait for Jonathan?
I don't think they're going to the same place.
Oh, Elaine. I'm glad you came. Stick around, huh?
Don't worry, I'm going to.
Hello, Mac. It's Ruth. You've got that guy that's wanted in Indiana. Now, on my desk, there's a description of his accomplice. Read to me. 54, 5'2", 140 pounds, German accent, poses as a doctor. Thanks, man.
It's all right, Lieutenant. The doctor here has just completed the signatures.
Thanks, Doc. You're doing Brooklyn a real service.
Mr. Brewster, you sign now as next of kin.
Of course. Right here?
That's fine.
All right. And that makes everything complete. Everything legal?
Oh, yes.
Well, aunties, now you're safe.
When do you think you'll be ready to start?
Well, Mr. Witherspoon, why don't you go upstairs and tell Teddy just what he can take along?
Upstairs?
I'll show you.
No, Mortimer, you stay here. We want to talk to you. Yes, Mr. Witherspoon, just upstairs and turn to the left. Well, Mortimer, now that we're moving, this house really is yours. Yes, we want you to live here now.
No, Aunt Abby, this house is too full of memories.
But you'll need a home when you and Elaine are married.
Well, darlings, that's very indefinite.
It's nothing of the kind. We're going to be married right away.
Mortimer, we're really very worried about something.
Aunties, you're going to love it at Happydale.
Yes, we know. That's just the thing, dear. We don't want anything to go wrong. Will they investigate those signatures?
Oh, don't worry. They're not going to look up Dr. Einstein.
It's not his signature, dear. It's yours. You see, you signed as next of kin.
Of course. Why not?
Well, it's something we never wanted to tell you, but you're a man now, and Elaine ought to know too. You see, dear, you're not really a Brewster. Your mother came to us as a cook, and you were born about 3 months afterward. But she was such a sweet woman, and such a good cook, we didn't want to lose her. So Brother married her.
But I'm not really a Brewster?
Now, don't feel badly about it, dear. And Elaine, it doesn't make any difference to you.
Wait. Elaine! Did you hear? Do you understand? I'm a bastard!
Well, I really must see about breakfast.
Mortimer's coming to my house. Father's gone to Philadelphia, and Mortimer and I are going to have breakfast together.
Yes, I need some coffee. I've had quite a night.
In that case, I should think you'd want to get to bed.
I do.
Here, Mr. Witherspoon, take this with you.
You won't need the wagon. My car's out front.
Oh, you leaving now, Jonathan?
Yeah, there's some people in Indiana who want to take care of him for the rest of his life. Come on.
Well, Jonathan, it's nice to know you have some place to go. We're leaving too. Yes, we're going to Happydale.
Then this house has seen the last of the Brewsters.
Unless Mortimer wants to live here.
I have this suggestion to make. Why don't you turn this property over to the church?
Well, we never thought of that.
After all, it should be a part of the cemetery.
All right, get going. I'm a busy man.
Goodbye, aunties. I can't better my record, but neither can you. The score stands even. 12 to 12.
Jonathan always was a very mean boy. Never could stand to see anybody get ahead of him. I wish we could show him he isn't so smart. Mr. Witherspoon, does your family live with you at Happydale?
I have no family.
Oh. Well, I suppose you consider everybody at Happydale your family?
I'm afraid you don't quite understand. As head of the institution, I have to keep quite aloof.
That must make it very lonely for you.
It does, but my duty is my duty.
Well, Martha, if Mr. Witherspoon won't join us for breakfast, I think we at least should offer him a glass of elderberry wine.
Elderberry wine?
We make it ourselves.
Why, yes. Of course, at Happydale, our relationship will be much more formal. But here, you don't see much elderberry wine nowadays. My thought I'd had my last glass of it.
Oh, no. No. Here it is.